So we have an interview of Prithviraj Sukumaran with Baradwaj Rangan, who I met recently. If you don't know, check out social media. But it's about Salaar because it's coming out soon. So here's the interview. I'm checking it out. If you haven't seen the original, check it out on Galata Plus channel. I'll put the link in the description. Now, I saw the Salaar trailer and we're talking about a lot of things. But one thing I've not talked about is Prithviraj Sukumaran. I got comments saying, why not even talking about him? And I'm like, Prithviraj Sukumaran is saved. Like, I think the bigger thing from this film is like, how will Prashant Neel do after KGF and, Prabhas after giving 3 flops? That's the more talking point. Prithviraj will do a good job. And also, I think I was expecting him to play a villain, very deadly villain, but the story is very different. So I kind of didn't maybe mention that. But let's hear from him. How was his experience and all the inside details?
Hello, Prithviraj. Welcome to Galata Plus.
Thank you so
and
much.
All excited about Salaar, I'm assuming.
So am I, yeah.
Just to kick off, now,
Paddy has grown like a white beard. That was not there when I met him.
you in Salaar,
Yeah.
Fahad in Pushpa.
Yeah.
Is it like all Malayali actors are embracing their inner larger-than-life side?
Interesting.
I don't know if it's like that I'm sure must be a coincidence that Fahad did Pushpa, and I'm not quite sure when Fahad listened to or said yes to Pushpa. But Salaar came to me much before than what is perceived. Like I think Salaar was pitched to me when KGF 2 shoot was happening.
Right.
Oh,
And at that
quite
point
back.
in time, I listened to the narration over a Zoom with Prashant, and I said yes to the film immediately. But then the lockdown happened, and I got stuck in Jordan for RDG with him, and the whole dates shifts and everything happened. And in fact, at one particular point, I thought I won't be able to do Salaar. I remember meeting Prashant here in Hyderabad, and we having this really sad breakup scene where I'm breaking the news to Prashant that I'm sorry, I can't, because I was in that appearance, the beard, the long hair, so I can't change all this in between. So, but then he got back saying, we are just going to. You tell me when you can join, and then we'll reschedule the shoot accordingly.
Oh.
And he had a conversation with Prabhas.
Okay.
And I should thank both of them for having moved things around so much for me to be able to do Salaar. And I'm glad I did it. And
Didn't know that at all,
if this is a movement where Malayali actors are going to find bigger spaces in other industries, great.
It's great. No, because, of course, there is you only have to see a Bhishma Parvam or something like that to know that the larger-than-life space does exist.
Absolutely.
In Malayalam.
I directed
but
Lucifer.
Scale is Lucifer, yeah. But the scale is somewhat a little different. That's what I was kind of thinking. And also, I don't think, did Lucifer go out as a pan-Indian movie?
No, it was a Malayalam film.
Right,
it was a Malayalam film.
But Empuran is going out as a pan-Indian.
The fact of the matter is today, when you make a film, especially when you make a big film, you anyway are going to have to dub it in 5 different languages because your digital partner, your satellite partner, they're all going to ask for these linguistic versions.
Right.
And because of the visibility and, because of the accessibility to cinema across the country today, as a filmmaker, you want to make sure each of your versions are good enough. You don't want to...
And don't give it to some third-party people like you take care of other languages and we only care about the language we made it in. Like, I think that also has to change.
Just have an apologetic dubbed version of your film.
Yep.
So when you're doing that, you might
Totally
as well
agree.
then go ahead and make a proper release all across the country, all across the world for every version if you can. But the fact remains that although the second part of Lucifer, the span and the premise of the film is much larger and the film traverses multiple countries, terrains, etc., the core of it is still a story that is happening in Kerala.
Right.
And embedded in Kerala politics. I'm hoping people in other languages, in other industries find the content engaging and what is encouraging.
I think one thing that Rajamouli has done, right, that I've heard interviews of people saying, he writes the script and dialogues for his film and then he sends it to, even before shooting everything, he sends it to the people who will be, writing and translating it to different languages. And then he gets them back and then he rewrites the dialogues to see how much he can match the dubbing in each language. That's the amount of work he's putting in, to make sure the film works in pan India, that it's in the DNA of the film that it's pan India. You have to give the audience, audience will not be like, oh, someone made a good film, it's our duty to go. No, they don't care. No one cares. We cinephiles can sit and say films are everything and cinema and this and that, but that's no one really cares. The major audience who pays the money, to make a film hit, you don't care. So you have to cater it to them, that you have to make it the best thing that they can easily consume and enjoy. And if they do that, if that happens, they'll come and pay the money. They don't care. And now especially that they don't care about the language. Like you have so many proof now. So I think if you're not putting that much, I'm not saying you have to do that only, but put it enough effort that even the Hindi version is as able to reach people. I think Leo is something I really enjoyed the Hindi dub a lot. I'll talk about it in a video later, but yeah, let's
thing for
continue.
us is I kind of think that even as a standalone film, the second part of the franchise works.
Right.
Okay,
So we'll see
great.
when it hits theaters.
Before
If it
we
works, then people can go back and enjoy and watch the first part also.
begin talking about Salaar, I have to say I really enjoyed Bro Daddy.
Oh, thank you so much.
Because for some strange reason, I have not seen too many comedies of yours.
Yeah.
And I've always thought of you as a very good, intense actor or a dramatic actor. I've never seen you as a comedian.
Thank you so much.
And so to see a movie like that with that subject directed so well and with such, because comedy pacing and this and that and all is
Yeah.
a beast.
Yeah.
And to see that done so well was like, wow, this is really rocking, you know.
The whole idea of the film actually came about, it was born from those times. It
Right.
was in the middle of the COVID lockdown. Cinema shooting was not happening in Kerala. The theaters were completely shut down. And whatever content was available on streaming services back then, it's all very dark. And even I had
Yeah,
just finished
that's true.
Kurudi and all that. So it was a very dark and intense. And I started thinking, man, there is nothing to make people smile. There's nothing to make people laugh, which is when Srijit, the writer of Bro Daddy, who's also one of the leading publicists in the industry, came to me with a script saying, I've written this script and I don't know what to do with it. Do you want to buy it? So I listened to it and I said, I bought it. And I pitched it to Mohanlal. We were both just sitting around doing nothing because there was no shooting happening. And I said, you know what, I think we should maybe try and pull it off right now for two reasons. One, this film, if not now, would never happen in my filmography as a director. Because then I'm going to be doing the second part of
Busy.
Lucifer, then I have the commitment with Hombale, which is another big film. And I sort of started thinking, if I ever were to do like a frothy, smiley, happy film, maybe this is my only chance. And I had a ball doing it.
It shows.
Because it was way outside my comfort zone, even as a filmmaker. Because as a filmmaker, I tend to go on to sets with very, I have my short division in mind, and I kind of tell my actors, okay, I know this is not very organic, but this is my shot, and I want your performance to be manipulated for the shot. I'm that kind of a filmmaker. You can't do that in a comedy. You can't do that in a comedy because you just have to let your actors loose and see what they are doing and then decide your filmmaking language around the performance.
Right.
So it was a very new
Comedy is very performance heavy.
experience for me, way out of my comfort zone. It was a very gratifying experience for me as a filmmaker. We, in fact, came to Hyderabad and shot the entire film in Hyderabad because film shootings are not allowed in Kerala at that time. And it was just a 40-day shoot. We quickly wrapped it. It was just a happy experience for
40 is a
everyone.
lot.
And I'm glad it did very well on Disney. And I'm glad you liked the film. I'm glad people liked the film. But yeah, it's a very special memory. I don't know if I'll ever be
I don't remember much of the movie. Like, I had a good time if I remember correctly. Like, it was fun. Mohanlal definitely was so good. So yeah. But I remember I had fun. I don't even know what I said about the film. Anyways.
able to get around to doing a small comic film like that again. So
You should, because I think we need directors who can direct comedy. Because even though you're saying that you can't hyper control comedy,
yeah.
directing a comedy is not like
it's very tough.
It's very
It's
tough.
very
and,
tough.
and to have a comedy staged so well
Yeah.
is very rare.
I mean, I had like references from masters in my own industry, like Priyadarshan sir and all that, who are absolute geniuses in staging a comedy, you know. And I always realized that in the classic Malayalam 80s, 90s comic films with Priyan sir, that Srinivasan sir wrote and all those films, I realized that they always let the actors go. And then it's almost like, okay, when I look at a film like Tenmavan Kombatu, I realize that,
I've not seen
one, you need to have very good actors, which Malayalam industry is blessed with. And you just, as a filmmaker, you sit back and let the actors go, and then you watch what they're doing on the monitor and you decide, oh, hang on, I want coverage of that from the other side. That was a very new experience. And I really want to do it again, but I don't know, because my filmography, at least in the near future, it's all like big, intense films.
When you get a film like Salaar, you said Prashant narrated it to you.
Yeah.
An actor would do a film if they liked the script.
Yeah.
But there is also something called, is there sometimes where you just go, these are nice guys. This is a great crew. This looks like a very good project. Let's not overthink this. Let's just dive in and have some fun. Does that also happen with you sometimes?
So, does that matter? Absolutely. Absolutely, it matters. But I have to admit, that is never the first priority. The first priority
It's
is
always a script.
absolutely. Because you could have the greatest crew around you, the greatest people around you, you could be very happy on a set. But in front of the camera, if what you're engaging with as an actor is not motivating you, is not making you happy, then I don't think it's an experience that you want to live through. Because I have done enough cinema to know that that is what matters the most.
Right.
The first time Salaar was pitched to me, that the idea of being part of the movie was pitched to me, was by Hombale Films. They had traveled to Kerala, not for Salaar, to meet me to discuss the idea of me directing something for them.
Right.
And
Okay.
we were in the middle of the
Is
discussions,
that
and
Tyson movie, right? Like I was researching and I found that movie is happening, but there's nothing, like it's silence.
we shook hands and said, yeah, we will definitely work on something together. And Vijay Kurigandusa said, so also Prashant Neel wants to pitch a character and he wants to know if you will do a character in Salaar. So I was mentally getting prepared to say no, because the immediate thought process is, okay, Prashant Neel after KGF doing this humongous film with Prabhas, a character, it's probably going to be something, that, okay, I mean, it's a character there, they are looking at some weightage as a star from other language. And I'm mentally getting prepared to say no to it, and then I hear the narration and I'm blown away.
Right.
Because before listening to the story of Salaar, I never thought it would be a film like this. I never thought it's a film about two friends and the bond and the dynamics between them. I had a completely different idea about what Prashant Neel might be making with Prabhas. And that, I think, is going to be the biggest, nicest surprise about Salaar.
Okay.
Because on top of all the spectacular action and the big set pieces and the humongous, set design and everything, I think it's a drama. I keep comparing Salaar. I keep telling Prabhas, this is like Game of Thrones. I keep comparing Salaar to
Okay.
Game of Thrones because it's a very
That's a
intense
big
drama
statement.
with very intricate character dynamics.
Right.
That surprised me. That surprised me very pleasantly. I heard the narration and I said, I would love to do it. The first person
And I actually don't doubt. I don't doubt it. I think that Prashant Neel showed that, in the KGF film, that there were a lot of moving parts which he built around Rocky Bhai and KGF. Like he could have just made, Rocky Bhai movie, or maybe like maybe more hero element. Like there were hero elements. Rocky Bhai was the main character, but KGF was also main character. And with KGF, there were so many moving parts, so much politics. So the way he did that, that tells you that he has the ability to of crafting good drama. So I don't doubt when he says this.
called after hearing the narration is Prabhas, actually. And I told him, it's about time, you did something like this. I'm so excited as a filmmaker to see you play Deva in Salaar.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, the crew, the fact that Prashant is directing, the fact that Prabhas is leading the cast, the fact that it's being produced by Hombale, all these things matter. But I'm experienced enough to know that that is not what matters most. Yeah.
When you are in Kerala,
The moment he says filmmaker, right? I like that. I always like people, or actors who are just not there. It's not, I'm not against those people. If you think you're just an actor, your job is to go act in a film, follow what the director wants to say, follow the script, do your best job, and then move to the next film. You don't really care about the other things. But then there are people like him, like Yash, like SRK, who, with what they have attained, the, position they are in, they also want to push filmmaking. They want to take the industry ahead, wherever industry, whatever they do, they all want to, you know take it. Like they just don't want to be an actor, they want to be a filmmaker. And filmmaker, you don't need to be director, it can be maybe helping in the writing, red chilies VFX, all these things, that you want to use that power and influence you have to take the industry and cinema ahead, which I really admire.
the top build, or rather the reason, the pivot around which the film moves, right? You know that Prabhas is a little more upfront than
Absolutely.
you. Does that at any point create any
I had
kind
this
of
question.
dynamic in you while saying yes, or while saying while even acting, for instance? It's kind of I'm just trying to get into the head of an actor and saying, once you say yes, it's a yes.
Absolutely. I mean, forget another language. You look back at my filmography in Malayalam, you will see films even when after me becoming a so-called lead actor, star in the industry, you will see multiple films where I've taken the backseat in terms of the weightage in casting. To quote an example, even Kurudi was first pitched to me to play the lead, the Ibrahim, the role that Roshan played. And the makers approached me to play that role. So then it was me, I decided that no, Laik's character needs the weightage of somebody intimidating, to play that. And Ibrahim should be somebody who's intimidated by Laik through the film. It took a lot of convincing for me to convince Manu, the director, that no, I shouldn't play the lead, I should play the villain. I've done films like An Achanurangata Veedu, where I'm just doing a small cameo in what I thought was a film that needs to be told. It's not about what I do in the
Driving
film.
license, I would say.
Is what I'm doing in the film important enough for the film, and I'm lucky enough to be brought up in an industry that has a heritage of always prioritizing the film over the stars.
Very
Even
well
today,
said, huh?
Mammootty sir is doing
The heritage.
Kadal, when
Yeah,
I
don't
go and
spoil,
ask
don't spoil.
Mohanlal sir, there's a film I want you to play my dad in, he doesn't even ask a second question. He's like, is he old enough to play my dad? No, he's not. But I tell him, then I go on and explain to him, the actual age difference between John Katadi and Isho Katadi is actually the age difference between you and me and all that. And he doesn't even want to hear it. He said, no, forget all that. It's funny. You made me laugh. Let's do the film. So I come from that industry.
Mola doesn't want to hear about his age. He's young.
All this aside, if you know Prabhas, if you have worked with him, it is impossible to feel uncomfortable with him around. And he's just one of those huge stars who are delightfully unaware of his own stardom. He'll be on set and he'll be the last person to sit down. He'll be if another actor does not have a chair, he'll just keep standing till they get a chair. He's just really gentlemanly that way. So I had a ball of a time, and never once did we think that, okay, I'm now in another industry.
You know what came to my head? Om, come to my room. I'll give you a chair to sit.
So I'm not the lead star on sets. That thought did not even cross my mind. And I'm pleasantly surprised that
the camera is
Prabhas, being
losing
such a big
focus.
star, is secure enough, is comfortable enough to have another actor play such a big role with so much screen time, so much importance, all through the film. And hats off to him, because when you speak to him, you realize even he thinks a bit like that. When I talk to him about films that he wants to do, he keeps telling me, sir, it's kind of a trap. After Bahubali, I keep getting pushed to these big,
he knows about it.
400, 500 crore films. But as an actor, I also want to try different things. I want to do a love story. I want to do a comedy and all that. And it is amazing that he thinks that way.
Now, you brought up Kadal, and
very interesting. I like that he knows that. I hope he takes an action on it. And just because, I just hope people around him don't push him. No, only do big pan India films. You're a pan India star, or you have to make bigger films and 5,000, 100 crores and all of that. Like, I think he needs, yes, he needs to take time and decide what I hope Salaar changes everything. Otherwise, he doesn't go in trap again if Salaar becomes a big hit. Again, he's like, no, you have to do bigger films only. I made a whole video about, what went wrong with Prabhas after Bahubali. You can check it on the main channel.
It's inevitable that you think back to Mumbai Police, because that was the first time, at least I think most of us in India saw a star portray a homosexual character. Now, today, audiences are a little more aware, evolved.
The movie spoiled for me, man.
They kind of at least know how to grapple with the concept and all that. So it was like, oh, Mammootty's playing this character, so that's fine. But when you got that offer, Mumbai Police, which is probably 10 years ago?
2013, 11 years ago.
11 years ago, right? So that time, which is like a really a bit of a dark ages for this kind of subject. What went through your mind? Like, did you ever think?
I remember my review. I still remember. There's a moment, where the character has, spoiler for that movie, he has lost his memory. He doesn't know who he is. But then he finds out he is actually, gay. And then he starts crying, like as if what he has learned is so bad. Like, it felt weird that you lost memory, but your, sexual preference will be same, right? Like it felt weird. It felt like, okay, anything. It's been a long time.
So is this a...
So Mumbai Police, Sanjay, Bobby, and Roshan had scripted the film till about the last 20 minutes.
Right.
And they were kind of stuck on which direction to take. What
Okay.
is that final reveal?
Twist,
What is that twist? And we were there at that point for a few months. And it's like late night one day, I get a call from Roshan saying, "Bro, you remember once you told me that for the merit of the film, you'll do anything." I said, "Yeah. Do you still hold true to your word?" I said, "Of course." I said, "Then can I come and meet you?" So Sanjay and Roshan, they came and met me, and they're like delicately breaking the last reel to me. They're like, this happens,
That's
and I
interesting.
clapped, and I said, "This is fantastic," because it was not about a star playing that. Nothing. There possibly couldn't be a more unpredictable twist to
Yeah.
the film.
Yeah.
And I'd be the first person to say that the same twist will not work today.
Yeah.
Because, like you said, those times gave us the liberty of giving a shock value to that twist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it that shocking today? No, it is not.
Yeah.
Yep.
If you see a male lead protagonist being a gay man in a film, does it shock you enough to go, no, it doesn't.
yeah.
So we can't rely on the shock value of that twist today. But back then,
Yep.
that is what worked for the film.
Right.
Having said that, I remember the first day the film released, I was in Doha with my mom, and the calls and the messages I'm getting are all, "Why did you do this? You shouldn't have done this. What is this?" But then organically, in 2 to 3 days' time, the whole conversation started shifting towards hats off. Wow, you had the courage and all that. So I still think it is one of the finest films made in our industry. And it is definitely one of my best films.
And it did well, right?
Absolutely. It then went on. People then realized, oh, what a big step this is, and what a brilliant film that is. Once the initial shock value over the end reveal gave way to appreciation for what we did and how good a screenplay that film is. So even without the final shock value and the twist, it's a brilliant screenplay.
Yeah,
And
it's
once
thrilling.
people started talking about that, then the film took off, and it was not just about the theatrical success. The success of Mumbai Police is that even today we are sitting here and talking about it.
Right. You're an actor who works under a director. You're also a director.
Yeah.
So you have seen Prashant from both points of view. That is, on sets, let's say you're not in a shot, you're probably seeing him as a director.
On a set, I never go back to the vanity when I'm always with him in front of the monitor.
Great.
Right. And of course, you're taking instructions
Plus
from
one
him
from me.
and acting as well. Let us know what this person is, because he's very quiet. He doesn't talk at all. So what is Prashant Neel like? Because he makes these, the first time I met him, of course I've seen
Just side of this video, there's a 1 hour long video of him interviewing Prashant Neel. So if he doesn't talk, I wonder what that is.
pictures of him and all that, but I was not prepared because like he makes this big, aggressive, big cannons, bazooka movie. He's like this most soft-spoken guy.
Yeah.
What is he like?
So I think as a person, Prashant is the nicest, gentlest, calmest, funniest guy on set. Great sense of humor and really good with his crew. One of the most joyful things you see on a Prashant Neel set is this absolute sense of team.
Right.
And that is not just with him and the chief technicians. Even the last art assistant working on the set, they seem like Prashant sir from our film. They've got that sense of ownership. It is such a blessing to be able to create that as a filmmaker. And that tells you a lot about the kind of person Prashant is.
Right.
That he evokes that sense of ownership on everyone on the set, in everyone on the set, which is very, very, it's not something that every filmmaker can claim.
Yeah.
And then something else that people don't talk about a lot in terms of Prashant Neel.
It's very important, to have your set work in a really good way, because if there's too much negativity and people are listening or something is going wrong and wrong again because there's no camaraderie between everyone, it will not, it will, you can be able to see it all in the movie. It will not come out nice.
Filmmaker. Understandably so, because his films look so spectacular and they're styled so well. And, he's got this keen sense of aesthetics and all that. Is the amount of time and effort he puts into writing. There is this popular misconception where you think that mainstream, action entertainers are easy to write. No, they're very tough to write. They're very tough to write, to be able to connect with the audience, to be able to create goosebumps, to be able to create a crest and a trough within a screenplay. That requires real talent. I remember the first time I had a face-to-face narration, which was then the final draft of Salaar. was in Hyderabad while I was shooting for Bro Daddy. So I finished shoot one day, late night, 9:30, I go to Prashant's office and I'm like, listen, I need to eat something. So he's like, yeah, yeah. He immediately called for food. And I was sitting in his office room and eating, and I glanced at the wall. There's a board almost this size, a huge board, in which he had written down the history. Imagine it's a fictional place, but he had written down the history of Khansar,
Wow.
where in the geopolitical map of the Indian subcontinent this place is. What are the different clans and tribes of Khansar? What are the interdynamics and the relationships between each of these clans? The characters, what
Love
each
it.
one means
Love
to
it.
what.
I'm more excited for the movie now. I love world building. We literally had that as a subject, in college, and we remember, we studied about Lord of the Rings, how that is so big and how much things have gone into it. Then Game of Thrones. So I love it. Always love it. Looking forward to such things.
What is the significance of each piece of jewelry that the character is wearing. He's written enough material for about 10 films on Khansar to make this 2.5 hour film. That's the kind of
That's
effort he
great.
puts into writing. I think that doesn't get spoken about as much as it should.
And as a director and as an actor, when
Oh.
you see him, yeah.
So again, I told you about this sense of ownership that he instills. He does that even more so with the actor.
Right.
Uh, with a film like Salaar, it's a giant film. The shoot setup is humongous.
Yeah.
Like you walk into if you get a chance, you should see the sets of Salaar. It is something to behold by itself.
Considering they're shooting part two, I'm guessing the set will be up even now. They'll have to hope the rains don't destroy it though.
So you walk into a Salaar set, you see these lighting rigs and 6 cameras set up and all that. But then you walk in and you tell Prashant, and he would have set this up, taking a lot of time and all that. And you tell him, Prashant, the scene, I think I'd like to try doing it this way, which would be entirely different from what he had set up. And he'll think for a moment, and if he thinks, oh, that's a better idea, he'll change everything around for you. He'll change everything around for the actor to be able to do that scene the way
Wow.
the actor wants. That's a lesson I learned from Prashant. You know what that does to you as an actor? It makes you feel responsible.
Yeah.
It makes you feel, every time you get a scene, it makes you feel responsible to sit there and think, right, am I connecting with the way the scene is set up? Do I want to do the scene this particular way? As an actor, do I think there is a better way to do it? If so, I should discuss that with Prashant. So he instills that sense of you are also a stakeholder in making the film.
Yeah.
And that is an amazing thing to do as a filmmaker. That is a takeaway for me from Prashant Neel. Which is why I think everyone on a Prashant Neel set, they are there thinking this film belongs to me. So that's an amazing thing to do.
How many languages do you speak?
I think someone in the comments told me he is dubbed for all 5 languages.
I can speak Malayalam, Tamil, Hindi, and English, but of course my best language is Malayalam. Yeah.
Right. But you've dubbed for all the 5 languages here. Why, first of all, why not let somebody else do it?
Yeah.
And, okay, answer that first.
So I've never let someone else dub for myself in any language, whichever language I've acted in. Be it Malayalam, be it Tamil, be it Telugu, or be it Hindi. I've done a Telugu film long back, like 15 years back. I've done a Telugu film with Srikanth. Even for that film, I dubbed myself.
Okay.
Yeah. Because I tend to...
Before he answers that, one thing I think what maybe an issue is that you don't want someone else's voice to be, what do you say, resemble your face to the people who don't know you. Like in Hindi, like how Prabhas, right? Prabhas became famous and everyone think Prabhas's voice like Sharad Kelkar because Sharad Kelkar give his Hindi voice. But when I think Saho happened, he did it his own in Hindi, which people didn't like at all. And then I think Adipurush, they went back to Sharad Kelkar. And I think even in Radhesham, it was Prabhas himself, which was not sounding well in Hindi because he doesn't have that very different accent. He doesn't have the command on Hindi. So I think maybe that's can be the reason because I think now with Salaar also it's not Prabhas's voice, it's Sharad Kelkar.
think that your voice is a big chunk of your performance.
Yeah.
The way you
Okay. That's also a
render
point.
your lines, the way you intonate your lines, how the tone of your voice connects with what is happening on your
Yep.
face. I think that's a big part of being an actor. And I'm not very comfortable letting someone else take that over.
Right.
To me, it feels like I I do a character, and then I lose control over my own performance when someone else is dubbing for me. So the first thing I asked Prashant for, the first condition, as soon as I heard the narration is, I love it, I do it, I have one condition. And Prashant was like, sir, yes sir. I said, I have to dub it myself. And he said, but sir, do you know Telugu? And I said, no. I was like, okay. I said, all that I'm asking you is, you have to let me try. And you have to let me try for as long as I want to. And finally, if I give up, then you go ahead.
Right.
Okay.
I said, okay. And while shooting for Salaar, Prashant used to let, so we have actors from different languages. Tinu sir, we have Tamil actors, we have Kannada actors. Prashant used to let each actor say their lines in their language.
Oh,
Which is
nice.
actually a good way of making a film like Salaar. Because say, when you watch Tinu sir's shot, in Hindi it's going to seem like that's the original shot.
Right.
Yeah.
When you watch a Tamil actor's shot, in
That's
Tamil version
what
of
I
Salaar,
think Rajamouli does, right, with RRR, because you can see in the Telugu version, Ajay Devgan's voice is dubbed, but in the Hindi version, it's his voice only. But other people are dubbed. I think Alia did her own in both Telugu. She learned Telugu to speak those lines, but yeah, that's a good thing.
going to seem like it's the original shot. But of course, the principal language of cinematography was Telugu.
Right.
So the writers used to come and say, sir, if you want, you can say it in Malayalam, and then we can dub it because your shot will then look like it's an original shot in Malayalam. I said, what was the film written in? In Telugu. I said, and then I learned my Telugu lines. So I used to learn by heart my Telugu lines, and I used to say, perform in Telugu. I used to sit down, understand the meaning of the lines, how it's pronounced, how it's intonated.
Wow.
And I used to get Sandeep, our writer,
That's very
record
hard.
the lines and send it to me, and I used to listen to it on headphones. And that's the way I approached it. And it took me, I think, 4 days to dub Salaar in 5 languages. And Prashant is keeping all.
Now you're just showing off.
No, I'm saying because of the process.
I'm kidding, but seriously,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah, because of
4
doing this
days.
process, because of approaching it almost academically, by the time I stepped in the dubbing studio, I knew my lines by heart.
inside out.
Yeah, so I knew my lines by heart, and I think the toughest language for me to dub in was Kannada, because it's the first time I'm voicing Kannada. The film was not shot in Kannada. I didn't say those lines when I was performing in front of the camera. But even Kannada, I realized is a language that if I try well, I can sort of say well.
Murli Gopi, the writer you've worked with in quite a few films,
Yeah.
he says that you tend to mug up or by heart the whole script. Is that true?
I do. Yeah,
Like the whole script?
I do, especially
My
the ones
God.
that I direct.
Okay.
I do. Like I can sort of say Lucifer 2 from shot 1 to last shot, including dialogues. So
Completely.
Wow.
Do you have, what is it called, eidetic memory or whatever?
no, it's just because I put in that kind of effort.
Okay.
Because I especially as a filmmaker, I'm talking now
Wow.
as a director, I think I'm all about what is on paper.
Right.
My shot divisions, where I want to place my camera, how I want to approach a scene, how I want to shoot an actor, everything is motivated by what is on paper.
Yeah.
Since I am solely driven by the written word, I need to be so close to it.
Right.
I need to be absolutely attached to what is written on paper. If that doesn't work for me, I don't get my shots. I suddenly start thinking, okay, how do I, if I'm not able to visualize a scene after having read the script or the scene, it means that the scene is not working for me as a filmmaker. I think any filmmaker who works like that will have more or less complete grasp of the script. But then again, I guess I'm thankfully blessed with a good memory also. So yeah, I mean, even when I'm narrating Lucifer or into someone, I don't look at a script. I just rattle off from the top of my head.
That's great, but does it come in the way of improvisation on the set?
It could actually.
That's the
could.
point.
I'm admitting this, that it could, which is why I said that Bro Daddy was so out of my comfort zone.
Right.
Because I land up on set really knowing.
Like very prepared. and-
Yeah, I ran up on set really knowing where the camera should be, how the camera should move. And my cinematographer hates me because I have lit up the shot in my head. And I sometimes come and tell him, no, I want a highlight falling from there. And he's like, it's not a good thing to tell your cinematographer that. No, you should leave that to him. But I've sort of seen it with a shaft light falling there like that. And also I go and tell him all that. You sometimes can get caught off, sometimes an actor will come and suddenly surprise you. And you're thinking, oh, It's not how I thought it's going to be. But then I'm experienced enough, thankfully, to know one thing you cannot control is your actor.
Right.
Because if you start controlling your actors, especially because I'm an actor too, you will have 10 characters in your film all played by Prithviraj. So it is very important for me to not
That's a really good point.
let the actor in me take over. Also, you could land up on a location.
But I think when you're an actor, right, you are using your own method sometimes to telling other actors like this is how I want because this is how I'm thinking as an actor you should do. And I think if you start doing that, then yeah, everything becomes very similar.
One
What
day
is that? Then what is the actor bringing in that performance?
suddenly something is entirely different. Something is not what you planned. It does catch you off guard, but then you are academic enough and well prepared enough as a technician then to find a way around it. These are these are the things about filmmaking that really excites you.
Yeah.
That you're never fully in control.
Yeah.
Complete control is always an illusion. You want to land up prepared, knowing what and how to do, and then you take it from there. Which is why I said I really enjoyed Bro Daddy, because I used to tell myself, stop. No, you can't do this for this film. You can't. You can't go there and have a camera on a track set up like this and tell the actor, I want you to come from there and sit here and then say the dialogue. No, you can't do that. Let them loose. So, and Lucifer was not shot like that.
Right.
Lucifer was the actors within my short division.
Right. It's fascinating because, thank you for saying that, because there are all kinds of directors, right? There are the very controlling ones, there are the very loose ones, there's people all in between the spectrum.
Yeah.
So it's just lovely to hear that.
Yeah, I mean, I've had the privilege of working with all these kinds of directors,
right.
And I've enjoyed all of them, and they are all very, very good in what they do. I mean, the good directors are very good in what they do. Like, say, for example, in Anjali, she really believes in letting the actors come into the space and owning the space, and you do what you want.
Anjali Menon, I'm
there.
guessing.
And then she wants to cover it all with the actors going wherever they want, and then decide what extra coverage she wants.
Right.
There is, let's say, a Shaji Kailas sir, who'll actually have an exact short division in mind, and he will want the actors to perform to that short division. I'm equally comfortable as an actor in both. As a filmmaker, I'm more comfortable with an actual short division in mind.
Right.
I've had this conversation with Dileesh Potan, where he's told me that he doesn't do that. He comes on location and then improvises from there. Oh, I'm not that confident. I'm not that confident, which is why Bro Daddy scared me.
Yeah. I'm just curious to hear how it will sound. Can you take any line from Salaar? It could be a very insignificant line, because every language has an intonation that's different.
Yeah.
Sometimes a noun could come first, sometimes it could come later.
Yeah.
But and just say it in a couple of maybe 2-3 languages.
I don't want to murder the language, so I'll refrain from that. But it's a good thing the good point you brought out is it's not just about the words changing.
Right.
I've realized that different languages intonate differently.
Right.
Even if it's anger, even if it's sorrow.
It's really, when you're watching a Prithviraj interview, you'll learn a lot of new words, and maybe some words you know about them, but you will never use them yourself. So it's interesting how he uses it.
Even if it's camaraderie, anything, different languages intonate differently. So as a Malayali, you tend to approach everything with the intonation that is correct in Malayalam. And I've realized, no. You also need to realize that the highs and lows of your rendering are different in different languages, which is a lesson I learned in Salaar, because I've not had the privilege of dubbing a single film in 5 different languages back to back to back over 4 days, and that sort of teaches you a lot. So I'll not say the line because I don't want to murder it right now, but I can, I keep teasing Prashant, that I keep telling him, listen, if Telugu and Kannada, my dubbing is bad, it's on you, right? And Tamil, I say it's on him. Only Malayalam will take ownership. So I'm looking forward to what people say about the dubbing. Yeah.
If different people in Salaar are speaking in their own languages, there is also going to be a bit of a lip sync issue in the film?
No, not at all.
Okay.
Because...
lip sync issue? Wait, what?
For example, like Tinu sir's character has a North Indian background within the film.
Oh, okay.
He's called Gaikwad, and we all call him Baba in the film. So it seems very natural that he's speaking in Hindi.
Okay.
But his lines are also written in Telugu for the film. And then they just tell Tinu sir, these are the Hindi lines, Hindi translated lines of the Telugu dialogue. We'd like you to say this in Hindi itself. That's fine. the other character is a Tamilian, could be a Tamilian. So that way, it's actually truly pan-Indian in that sense, because the characters themselves are from different, linguistic backgrounds. I didn't want to come there and start speaking in Malayalam. I didn't want to take that easy route. I didn't want to take that easy way out. So I really learned my lines in Telugu.
Prithvi, you come from an industry where people start and finish films like that, right? It's like
Not anymore.
No, okay, maybe, but to a large extent.
Yeah.
I mean, Tobino says he did something in like 25 days, something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, the smaller films, of course.
Yeah, but you're used to that as well.
Yeah.
What is it like to spend a lot of time in character on the same film for does it get
Interesting.
exhausting? Do you have to use a different acting muscle to kind of, do you have to use an extra factor of keeping yourself invested or interested despite the fact that it's going on for so long? Yeah, I don't know if you're...
I understand your question.
Right.
I think it's actually easier when it's that way.
When it's big, when it's longer.
Not longer. When you get to be consistently in the character, like what is usually tough for an actor is
Should
what
they have breaks, like when you're performing and then there's a break between and then you go back again and you're trying to find the right thing what you had did back then, and it should not feel like I'm some other character now. So I think that's the problem.
I had to do over the last 1 year. Because the scale of something like Salaar, it was shot across so many years with multiple schedules. And because I have my commitments in other industries,
Right.
I had to go back to another character in between.
Yeah.
That is what is tough. Because what happens is when you're like, say for example, you're Baradwaj Rangan, you're wearing this outfit, the nose ring, there's a particular way you want to walk and talk and sit and look for the character. You do that for 10 days at a stretch, it almost becomes like a muscle memory.
Yeah, second.
Like you walk on set, you're in that costume, then you no longer have to tell yourself, listen, this is the way you used to walk for Baradwaj Rangan. You don't have to do that. Then it slowly becomes easier and easier because all the muscle memory sets in, and then you only have to watch the emotion. Then suddenly from there, I go to a Bade Miyan Chote Miyan with Ali Abbas Safar, and I'm doing something entirely different. And then I come back.
That film I'm looking forward to. He's playing the villain.
Then I have to sit down and tell myself, okay. Then I ask Prashant, can I see a scene that we shot last time? I go and Prashant will show me a scene and I look at it and okay, so this is what I did. That is the tough part. So ideally, given a choice, if I could do a film like Salaar at one single stretch, even if it's 200 days, I'd prefer that.
Yeah. Part of the reason I also wanted to ask this is that when you wished your wife for your anniversary this year on Twitter, the words you used were, for a man who's scared of permanence or something like that.
Yeah.
I was like, that's why this length of time kind of, I was like, are you scared of spending that much time on a set?
The last thing you will find on a film set is permanence and predictability.
Right.
Which is part of the reason why I love this job so much.
Yeah. But what is it what is it that scares you about permanence?
I'm just someone like that, I'm in complete awe. And I'm in complete awe of people who have a set life with a proper 9 to 5. I have friends who do
like
that. A proper 9 to 5
like a
job.
serial.
They know what they are doing next Wednesday, If I ask them, hey, listen, where are you on the 28th of December? They'll maybe whip out an organizer 22nd. Oh, it's my meeting. I'm in awe of people like that. I don't know if I can do that. I'm a little scared of living a life like that. I like the idea that I don't know where. Next month, this time, I could be shooting Lucifer 2 in London, or maybe I could be finishing Bade Miyan Chote Miyan in Dehradun, or maybe I could be shooting for Guruvayur Ambalanadil in Cochin. So I like that, and that is not just
That's a show off. The way he's explaining that one Bollywood film, one film I'm directing, big budget, then one Malayalam film I'm doing.
about my work life. So I'm building a house now. And it's a little scary
I
for
was
me that
joking.
I'm thinking, is that where I'm going to live for the rest of my life? So that is not something I'm fully comfortable with. In my mind, I like change. I like constantly things moving around me, the world changing around me. So the only thing that I'm comfortable with in terms of permanence is my wife and my daughter and my family. That I like. I like coming back to that. Where I have most fun is when I'm at home. For me, going out for a party or a dinner or something like that, to me is a bit of work. I have more fun sitting at home. So that permanence I like. And I've started to like it because of what Supriya has created, around my life back at home. So that's what I meant.
When you have from the little things that we've seen in Salaar, it looks like this is possibly your most physical role ever? Would you say that, or it's just an impression we're getting from?
Not really. I mean, there is a lot of
Physical.
action and violence in the film, and but I've done a lot of action films, so I
Right.
mean, it's not going to be the most physical film I've ever done and all. And obviously, I mean, the characters and the way Prashant sees them, he wanted Pravas and me to be like very fit and all that. So yeah, I mean, but that is like a very normal demand
Yeah.
for an actor.
Yeah.
It's not. Um, the one thing I remember about Salaar is also something you will feel when you watch the film is that the film dwarfs the characters.
Right.
The setup is so big, the premise is so big. When you walk into Salaar's sets, you feel like you're a tiny thing and that is part of the storytelling style, that he has set up this world which is so big
I think Prithviraj's camera is set on auto, so that's why it just keeps shuffling.
that the characters seem dwarfed in
Right.
front of the world. That was something that was very new for me because I've never done a film with such massive sets. Usually, when you're doing something at this scale, it's probably just 3 pillars and a green mat, and so everything is built out on VFX.
Yeah.
That I've done, but this I have not.
So everything was built.
Absolutely. I mean, of course, there are VFX extensions and all that,
Yeah.
but the amount and the size of sets that they have
Practical
built
sets.
was just massive.
You
Massive.
can tell
I
from the trailer.
remember a team from Bombay came to visit me on the sets, and they couldn't believe it that that we have, like Bhuvan said, we had created another Ramojirao film city inside Ramojirao film city. Like there were about 14 sets or something.
I read that your first audition
Yeah.
ever was long after you became a star,
Yeah.
which was in Aurangzeb, the Hindi
Yes.
film.
Yes.
What was that like? I mean,
Okay,
did
I've not
any
seen
part
that.
of you says, "Oh my God, do I have to prove myself right now to?"
I keep telling this to multiple people that one of the most enjoyable experiences I've had after becoming established in cinema was that one audition. I'll tell you why, because I was shooting for a film called Ayya in one of the floors in Yashraj.
That's the Rani Mukherjee film.
Yeah,
Yeah.
in one of the floors in Yashraj, when Shanu, the casting agent of Yashraj, came to meet Rani to say hi to Rani, and she saw me. And she said hi, and Rani introduced me, and I'm like, yeah, hi. And I'm not thinking, I'm doing another Hindi film and all. That's not even in my mind at that time. 2 days later, Shanu gives me a
Wait. A light bulb came. Idea. Maybe, what if this interview is like old when Baradwaj Rangan had that white beard? Because when I met him recently, like not even a month back, like 15 days back, he didn't have that beard. And I think he posted a photo with Sandeep Reddy Vanga. He's doing an interview of him. And I think he doesn't have the beard. Does he? Let me check. But I don't think so. So maybe this can be an old interview he recorded, with everyone. And now they are putting out because the film is coming out. Maybe that's my guess. But let me check if he has the beard or not. We'll find out soon. He has the beard. I'm wrong. Sorry. Let's go ahead.
call saying, can I meet you? And I said, sure. So I meet Shanu, I think at Yashraj or somewhere else. And she's asking me, so, there's this film that Yashraj is doing. And there's this central character in that we are looking to cast. And Adi was thinking, would you like to do it? I said, yeah, I mean, I'd love to read the script and see. Yeah, but it's a cop drama, police drama set in Gurgaon. In this Haryanvi family. So the Hindi is, I said, I don't know Hindi. I mean, of course, I can read and write Hindi, but it's not like I converse in Hindi, right? So just to see that and she's being very delicate about it. I was thinking if, we can just do like a shoot. And I'm like, you mean like an audition? She said, I understand. It's don't look at it as an audition just to, I said, I'd love to audition. And she was like, what? I said, I'd love to audition. So, and she was a little taken aback. I said, I'd love it if I'm auditioning for the role and there are like 100 other people auditioning. And if Adi picks me because my audition was the best, I would love it because it's like for
Wow.
me, it seemed like, yeah, I mean, I've still got it, I'm not in the film because of who I am. I'm in the film because of how good I am.
Right.
So that was a really gratifying experience for me. And full
That's one way to look at it.
to Shanu because for the audition, she coached me on my lines. She told me how to pronounce Hindi. She used to record the Hindi lines and send it to me. And she's a fantastic casting director. And she shot my audition, and she gave DVD to Adi, and about few days later, Shanu calls me and says, Adi loved your audition. Adi loved your audition, so we would love for you to do the film. Can you read the script? And I read the script. Years later, Shanu one day sent me a photo. Suddenly, she had found it in a cupboard or somewhere, and she sent me a photo of the DVD of my audition that she had sent to Adi, and with a marker pen with the date of that day, she had written, Adi, this is the guy. And so it's a very special memory for me.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Now, we talked a bit about Salaar, long time and all that, but something that took a longer time was Arjivitam, which is beyond your control.
Yeah.
How did you keep your sanity during that period?
Arjun was very tough. I'm not going to lie. It was very tough, not just for me, for the whole team.
Yeah. And you've written about it.
Yeah. So we started ideating on doing the film. I shook hands with Blessy, and we decided officially that we are doing the film in 2008.
Right.
Yeah, in
Wow.
2008. And at that point in time, much like today,
What,
Blessy
15 years ago?
was one of the highest regarded filmmakers in Malayalam industry. Like in 2000.
This was after Tanmatra. No?
Yeah, after Tanmatra, everything. He had shot Kalimannu. He had shot that entire film, and he was waiting for Shweta's delivery to shoot her giving birth to the child. So that was the only remaining bits of shooting that he had to do, and everything. The next film he's doing is Aadijeevitham.
Right.
And at that point, Blessy was a filmmaker who could walk up to any star, like Mohanlal, Mammootty, anybody, and say he'd like to do a film. They'd immediately say yes, because we all wanted to do a Blessy film. And from 2008 to 2023, as we are speaking, the only film Blessy has done is Aadijeevitham. At the absolute peak of his career, at a point where he was the highest paid filmmaker in the industry, he decided for the next 15 years, regardless of what it takes, I will do just this one film. And it
that
took 10 years from 2008 to 2018 for Aadijeevitham to finally start shoot for multiple reasons. Mostly because the vision and the scale that Blessy had in mind was unthinkable in Malayalam in 2008.
But I would also say maybe it's a blessing, no pun intended, that they, because of the delay, they got better technology at their hands, more budget, and do a better job at making the film than they could have maybe in 2008. With the limited resources they had.
I keep telling Blessy, I know it's a lot of time, but in some ways we have to thank God that the film did not happen back then, because there was no way we could do what we did today in 2008. So 2018, finally we started shooting. I remember the first day before the first shot, Blessy walks up to me and he hugs me and he cries for 10 minutes. I have not said this to other people. I remember this so vividly. He's hugging me and he's breaking down. He's crying. And even I started crying, because I sort of realized, oh my God, 10 years. I was doing other films.
We need a movie on this. Netflix 4-part series on the making of this film.
I was involved with other kind of cinema. I was in my own journey. This man waited for 10 years to get this off the floor. And finally we start shooting. And then the problems start, right? Then the problems start. The initial idea was to shoot just the Masara, that set portion in the desert in Rajasthan.
Right.
So what was the problem? We don't have that sheep, that livestock in India. So Blessy and the team bought 250 numbers of sheep, and they were in a port in Saudi Arabia, ready to be shipped to India. And we had taken permissions from the Animal Husbandry Department in India and the guidelines about how to bring in livestock and all that. Finally, after we finished the Kerala schedule, we were about to shift to Rajasthan. We get a no from the Animal Husbandry Department saying you can't do it. Now we have to start searching for where we can put a set in. And the search continues. Dubai, Abu Dhabi, Saudi Arabia, Morocco, everywhere, Oman, across the world. Finally, it lands in Jordan. And 2019, we go to Jordan. And I've put on weight because Blessy wanted this whole thing of somebody who's very hefty, then becoming very, very lean. And I put on weight, I'm fat, I'm going there. And we are shooting we keep calling it the fat desert schedule. So we shoot the fat desert schedule. It comes out really well. We are happy. We are all excited. And we are saying, okay. And Blessy is asking me, how long do you want to lose weight? And I'm thinking, I'm going to really, go at it with all my thing. And so maybe I'll be able to do it in 6 months. I did it in lesser than 6 months. At around the 4th month, 5th month, I had lost about 30 kilos.
Wow.
31 kilos to be precise. And we go, and Blessy is overjoyed at what I have done. I'm feeling rotten because I'm not eating. I'm at 650 calories a day. I'm killing myself. And I'm telling myself, okay, we are going, we are shooting. It's a 45-day schedule. We finish, and that's it. Let's go. Let's do it. I'm driving myself. I'm motivating myself. We go there. We start shoot. 6 days into shoot, the world shuts down.
Yeah.
Oh
The
my
world
God.
shuts down, and we don't know when we can start shooting. And we don't even know that the shoot now is going to be 1.5 years later. If somebody had told me that, I would have started eating, you know.
Yeah.
My whole worry was, hang on, what if 20 days later the permissions come through? Because nobody knew that COVID is going to be such a long time.
Yeah.
So my whole worry is, what if 20 days later the permissions come through and we're like, let's shoot. So I have to maintain that body shape. I have to be that
Oh my
67
God.
kilos that I was, you know. And I'm there, not eating, not knowing where to go back, when I can go back home. And we have this team of 80 odd people all stuck. Contrary to popular belief, we were very comfortable there. You know, we were
Okay.
in a really nice desert camp. We had unlimited supply of food. We were playing cricket and all that. But this creeping thought of, when are we going to be able to go back home? When are we going to be able to start shooting the film again? That was there. And then it was 1.5 years later
My
when
God.
I had to again go through the transformation. And I remember meeting Blessy and saying, listen, I don't know if it will happen a second time. You know, I don't know if my body will react like that a second time. And my wife was livid that I'm going to put myself through this a second time. But I did
The
it.
650 calorie diet.
Yeah, because I had to match continuity. You
Yeah.
know? But I did it. I did it a second time.
Oh my
I did
God.
it. I went through the transformation a second time. We went back. And this time we got to shoot in even more spectacular locations. We went to Algeria. We shot in Sahara, in Timimoun. I don't think any film has been shot there. I'm not sure. The kind of desert landscape that we have shot in Ardajidam, I have not seen in any other films. We shot in Timimoun. Then we came back to Jordan and we finished what we shot in 2019. And then finally we come and we finish our last schedule, the last day of shoot back in Kerala, where we have put up the jail set. Last shot of the film, we finish. Blessy comes, hugs me, cries for 10 minutes. You know, this is like one full circle.
Full circle.
Yeah, that happened.
Oh my God.
So
This needs to be made into a film.
I put a post on Instagram the other day saying probably the most special filmmaking experience I will ever have. Because even if I do something like that again, it's only going to be a second time.
Right.
This was, everybody involved with that film will have the same emotion about it.
Right. When you were shooting Salaar, were you also doing bits of Arjidam by then?
Ardajidam started, Salaar started and after Ardajidam got wrapped.
Wrapped.
Yeah.
Okay.
In fact, after Ardajidam got wrapped, I asked Prashant for 2 months to put on some muscle and, you know, gain weight and all that. So I put on weight and then came. I started eating and letting go of that really bad diet by the time we finished our second schedule in Jordan. So then it was almost a month and a half later that we shot in Kerala.
Right.
So from there, I was starting to eat and starting to lift weights again and all that. And by the time I reached Salaar, I was looking healthy. So
There's so much goes behind making a film, you know, so much. Especially films like these, the passion projects.
Right. I'm not talking about larger than life necessarily, but let's say Ayappanam Kosham, where you're playing a dramatic character. It's not. There are high moments in the movie, but the movie itself is at a realistic scale, like a relatively realistic scale, right? But this is Prashant is intentionally creating a world that is meant to be unrealistic. That is, but you have to within that world create a believability, a realism. What is the challenge of playing that kind of role?
So this is something I actually tell even my assistant directors, that what you need to make actors aware about is that you're not acting in a shot, you're not acting in a scene, you're acting in a film. And there is a larger vision towards which your performance will have to contribute to. So an actor can't walk into a film thinking, I don't care what the film is about, I'm going to smash my performance. No, you can't do that. You can only perform in a way that builds towards the director's vision. So if Varadaraja Mannar has to say a line in a particular way, it is because that line said in that particular way has to create an effect in the scene. And that scene will then have to build to some other plot point, which then goes on to become, the premise of the film. So you have to be aware of that as an actor. You know, what at any given point in the film, you're doing a shot, you're doing a scene. What is it building towards in the entire film? I've seen it in awe when I'm directing Mohanlal. You know, he's so aware of that. He's so aware of, okay, in this particular scene, in this particular shot is meant to do this in this scene, and this scene is meant to do this in the film.
But bigger
So
picture.
when you walk into a set in a set like Salaar, you have to be aware as an actor that you're now in a world which is completely different, and your character dynamic in that world is completely different. So your performance should be metered and you know, constructed in a way that it helps create the believability of the world. Khansar is believable also because of the way the people in Khansar are.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
Khansar is believable because of the way Varadwaj Rangan speaks, because of the way Deva talks and moves. So all this is part of the director's vision, which is why I keep saying that the actor's delight is a director with a clear idea, you know, and who can tell you, this is what I want, this is what I am looking at, now you contribute to it, you know. And Prashant is very, very clear on that. He's very clear. You can go and ask Prashant anything about Khansar, you know, about the history, that, this, he'll know everything. He will have a backstory about Khansar that is not necessarily in Salaar, but he'll still tell you so that you know where are you as a character in that world.
The shooting for the second part is yet to
Start.
start, right? So that's going to take up another like chunk of time.
It's even bigger than much bigger than part one.
Right. So
Spoilers.
within this, you're going to finish Emperor.
Emperor, I'm hoping from Jan, I'm going to more or less have a continuous shoot. Of course, there are shifts. The film is shot across 6 different countries. So these shifting gaps will be there. Other than that, I'm hoping that I do it in one stretch, which is how I like doing my films, and finish it somewhere by mid-year. And I am allowed to do action only in June, when I complete 1 year of my injury. So till then, I'm not allowed to
Yeah,
do
we got
action
injured
and heavy
also.
duty stuff. So that's the last schedule of Emperor, where I'm going to shoot my action sequences. And with that, the film is wrapped. And hopefully, I can join the second part of Salaar after that. So, but it's all up to Prashant.
So it's packed.
Yeah.
This is permanence. You know exactly what you're going to do for the next, like, I don't know, 1.5 years.
This is what I thought about RGM in 2018 too, and see how it turned out.
See how it turned out. Yeah, see, that's
Yeah,
impermanence. Yeah,
exactly.
that's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you good at post-analyzing a film about why it worked or why it didn't work? And if yes, what do you think happened with Gold?
I'm not good at
Oh.
it, but if a film did
I
not
already
work,
forgot
it
about that
means the
film.
film did not connect with the audience. It's as simple as that, you know. And ultimately, you make cinema just for that. You make cinema to connect with the audience.
So you don't believe in the theory that it could be a good film, but one that just did not reach the audience because they wanted something else. You don't believe in that theory?
See, say for example, one of my personal favorites from my own filmography is City of God.
Right.
That Lijo Jose Pellisheri directed. I love that film. I love my character in that film. And I think Lijo just did a freaking brilliant job of directing the film. It didn't work in theaters. Is it a good film? It is. But did the film work? It did not. Right? I
That's a
can
fact.
sit here and say I enjoyed the film. I loved the film. It is a good film. But the film did not work because it did not connect with the audience at that particular point in time. I enjoyed Gold. Like, I found it quirky. I found it funny. There might be another person who shares that opinion that, yeah, I like the film. Because me and another person has liked the film, we can't go onto the world and say, none of you know what cinema is about. It's a great film. What are you talking about? No. I mean, you have to understand the fact that you belong to a minority.
Right.
Some people need to watch that on loop.
If the majority had liked the film would have worked.
Right.
And it is as simple as that. And that is how cinema is. Like, tomorrow I might make a film that just does not connect with people watching it. That's how cinema is. You can't have a foolproof formula to always make sure that the piece of art that you're creating is going to resonate with everyone watching it.
Now, if there is one memory that you're going to take back about Salaar, part 1, Ceasefire, what's that going to be?
It's a very humbling thing that I remember that phone call. I remember that phone call very well, where I told Prashant that I'm so sorry, I'm going to have to give up on Salaar because I've gone through so much for Adajeevatham that I have to finish that film. And finishing that film now means that I can't give you the dates that you've asked for. And obviously, Salaar is not the kind of film that you can easily decide, okay, then we'll move the dates. It's not, because the setup is huge. And I remember that call one day. He gave me he called me and said, sir, I spoke to Prabhas, and you tell us when you will come. We will shoot then.
Wow.
It took me like he's Prashant Neel, and this is Salaar. And it's a character that has equal importance with Prabhas's character. I'm thinking he can cast anyone. Prashant can, I don't know, go to Bollywood, any industry, and cast anyone. Everyone would have said yes. For this character especially, they would have said yes. He came to me, and then he's telling me that he will stop the shoot and he'll hold the sets.
Right.
Wow.
It was such a humbling
Means a
experience.
lot.
It was one of I don't know. I thanked
Nothing can be more, a compliment than that, that you you have earned it kind of.
the power above that. Okay, I mean, someone like Prashant Neel thinks that he will do the film only when I join. And the same thing happened with Ali Abbas Safar, right? He pitched this film to me. I thought the script is fantastic and the character is just amazing, what I got to do in Bade Miyan Chote Miyan.
Okay.
And unfortunately, as luck would have it, after like some 10 years, I'm doing a Hindi film and it's clashing with another Hindi film I'm doing, which I've committed to earlier. And I'm telling Ali, listen, I don't think I can do this because I've given my dates there. They're also shooting in Manali and all that. And Ali is shooting in London with Akshay sir, Tiger, 5, 6 big actors. Getting their dates together is a big issue. So I tell Ali, and Ali is like, "Arey, yaar, man, and I'm so sorry. I don't want to mess up your entire schedule." So I'm shooting Salaar. I'm shooting the climax fight late night, some 1 a.m. or something. I'm sitting with Prashant, and I get a call from Ali saying,
Wow.
"I spoke to Akshay sir. So you tell me when you will come. We'll shoot it then." I'm like, oh. So it's such a humbling, gratifying experience that filmmakers look at you as an actor with that much weightage that guarantees them having to move everything around for me to be able to do their films. So that phone call is a memory that I'll always carry with me.
Lovely. I'm so glad we were able to have this chat. And
Wow.
on a personal note, I'm glad your leg is feeling better because
it
from
is.
whatever you described, it sounded horrible.
Yeah, I mean, it was a complex injury. I love shooting action. I started filmmaking by directing action sequences in my films. So even today, I love shooting action. And it was an action sequence, and me being the Entu cutlet that I am, we're doing this complex single shot gimbal thing of me doing an action bit, running, getting into a bus. There's an action bit in the bus, and then somebody is thrown out of the bus. I jump with him out of the bus, and then there is another bit of action continuing. So we want to get this in the single shot. And we are rehearsing for half a day. We are blocking off the road. We are thinking it's going to be a really complex, a lot of time thing. And we are doing our first complete rehearsal. So I call all the fighters and say, I'm going to roll the camera. So it's a rehearsal, but let's do it like a take. And we do it
Okay.
and we get a perfect take. And everybody's like, we are done. I said, yeah. So we are all a little shell-shocked that it's done. We got it. Because we didn't think it would be so easily gettable. So you're like, okay, so
Let's
now
do one more.
let's just do one more.
And then,
Yeah.
right. But it's good. I think the universe is looking out for you. See, Shanu Sharma waited and said, you're the guy.
Yeah.
Prashant Neel
Yeah.
waited,
I mean,
said, you're
I'll
the guy.
forever be
Ali
thankful.
Abbas Zafar
Yeah.
waited, says, you're the guy. So I think there's a universe that's kind of in sync with.
Because I've told Prashant about how he made me feel with that phone call. When Ali made that phone call, because I was sitting with Prashant, and I've told Prashant, like this is very similar to what happened with Salaar. Yeah.
So anyway, can't wait to see the film. All the best. And
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thanks so much. Yeah.
What a wonderful interview, and it's always great to listen to it, the insights he brings, and knowing all the stories. It felt like I was with him. Like, he's a good storyteller. I was with him, all the stories he narrated and everything that happened with him, and such a great interview to Baradwaj Rangan also, that how well he conducted it. Sort of, yeah, man, there's so much happened. Cannot wait for Salaar. More excited hearing all this. Also, we'll be checking out the other interview with Prashant Neel. You can check it out here if it's already out. And I will see you next time. I don't know what I'm going to say. Leave a thought in the comments. Yeah, that's it.